Welcome to Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only LGBTQ daily news television show, broadcasting live and available on demand on your favorite streaming channels.
Analytics company vidIQ, it's easy to say, has certified the Queer News Tonight and YouTube channel as the world's most popular LGBTQ streaming news show. Our queer stories have reached over 10 million views.
We are proud that Queer News Tonight has more YouTube subscribers than any other LGBTQ brand in Florida.
We thank you for watching and supporting our voice in the LGBTQ community. There is no other news program in the world that like Queer News Tonight.
It is Monday, May 26th. Happy Memorial Day. We are live and literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we'll tell this evening on Queer News Tonight.
You're watching Queer News Tonight, the world's first daily LGBTQ evening news show.
Welcome to the world's most important LGBTQ evening news show.
Hotspots Magazine, Happening Out Television Network, is a nonprofit 501c3 media company in the same model as PBS and NPR, but designated for the LGBTQ community.
Our nonprofit mission is to support the 11 pillars of our LGBTQ community. We want to inform and educate the key issues of lesbian, trans, Latino, Black, healthcare, seniors, students, faith, social justice, business, and queer culture. Help us support our diverse community.
We are part of one of the largest LGBTQ nonprofit media companies in America, Hotspots Magazine and Happening Out Television Network. In 2025, our magazine is celebrating 40 years of the LGBTQ experience, and Queer News Tonight is celebrating our 5th anniversary with more than 10,000 LGBTQ television stories. We will produce the 25th anniversary of our Stonewall Pride Parade and Festival on June 14th. We present Pride Fest on August 9th and Pride Fort Lauderdale Parade and Festival on February 14th, Valentine's Day. Our magazine, events, television news, talk, and entertainment shows support our mission to educate the LGBTQ and broader community.
In 2025, more than 100 community leader anchors will host the show to support the LGBTQ community. Let's meet today's anchors at Queer News Tonight. Let's welcome anchor Reverend Robert Hadley. Robert is a deacon at Holy Angels National Catholic Church and secularly as a health educator with Broward House. In addition, Robert is one of the Hotspots Happening Out event managers and photographers. Welcome, Robert. Happy Memorial Day.
Excited to be here. I'm looking forward to Pride coming up, one of the events that we're sponsoring.
Oh my.
Working on.
Pride is already coming up. This year is going by fast, and my stress level is all-time high. Let's welcome anchor Larry Farver. Larry has over 20 years of experience in human resources, acting, film, radio, TV, live events, parade, float, design and production, and casting. He is also a board member of the West Side Association. Welcome, Larry, and happy Memorial Day.
Yes, it's been a good week. I'm excited about the holiday weekend. Tuesday, I had a chance to be at a great function at Space Untitled, which was hosted by Matteo Ciccolini, Dana Davis, who I work with at Marriott's Mary Productions, and we had a broadcast in from Candace Kane, and we also had the locally famous celebrity Mark Martirana, and I think some other people at this table visited the event as well.
I know exactly where we were.
So we had a great time. It was a great space to enjoy the new art, some libations, and a great.
Was it a trans history event?
Yes, it was.
It was.
It was.
Let's welcome anchor Alex Morash. Alex has served as editor-in-chief of Options magazine, media director of the National LGBTQ Task Force, and press secretary for the Florida Democratic Party. Welcome, Alex, and happy Memorial Day.
Thank you so much for having me here today, Bobby. I had one of the best Memorial Day weekends in a long time. I'm sure so many of you there saw it, but for some reason, no one sent me a picture yet. I'm waiting for some to share with you all, but it was just too much fun. Too many things were going on at the drive this weekend. Too much fun at the pool parties, Bobby. I had way too much fun with you at that pool party, and thank God there are no cameras for that.
And of course, let's welcome tonight's lead anchor, Dr. Bobby Huen, a world traveler and well-versed global affairs. Bobby, provides an international perspective on current events. It put the PhD in conflict resolution. Bobby's a certified civil and family mediator and a founder of the BH Conflict Resolution Services. Welcome, Bobby.
Thank you. And well, let's just say that Alex and I had a pretty good time the other day at a pool party.
This was the best Memorial Day weekend in forever. I have to get you some pictures. Yeah. I'm so sorry.
The hot dogs are delicious, but you always know that I love a meat in tube form. So.
And of course, I was in Chicago for Memorial Day weekend.
Yes. Oh yes, IML.
I was at IML. I talked to a lot of people there. I spent some time with my mom the day before on the suburbs. It was a good weekend. So Memorial Day was a wonderful weekend.
Fantastic. I still want to try IML. I've never been. Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Bobby Huen, and let's queer up the USA view. Texas House votes to repeal outdated anti-gay law. Texas is finally taking a step toward repealing one of the country's most outdated and anti-LGBTQ laws. The Texas House of Representatives voted to repeal the state's 1973 homosexual conduct law, a statute that criminalized gay sex as, quote, deviates sexual intercourse with another individual of the same sex, end quote. Though the law was ruled unenforceable by the U.S. Supreme Court in Lawrence versus Texas back in 2003, it has shamefully remained on the books, a symbol of stigma and discrimination. For years, Republicans in Texas have refused to act. The state's GOP platform still labels gay people as abnormal. Now, a historic shift is underway. House Bill 1738, authored by out-gay Democrat Venton Jones of House District 100, passed with bipartisan support. 12 Republicans joined 60 Democrats in favor, while 55 lawmakers voted against it. Jones said, today the Texas House voted to repeal the state's unconstitutional homosexual conduct law for the first time in history. He added, quote, HB 1738 is now headed to the Texas Senate, where it will be sponsored by Senators Jose Menendez and Molly Cook. We look forward to our colleagues in the Senate finishing what is long overdue and finally removing this discriminatory law from our books once and for all, end quote. With a June 2nd deadline looming, it's still unclear if the Senate will act in time or whether Governor Greg Abbott will sign it. For the LGBTQ community in Texas and across the U.S., the bill's passage in the House marks a long overdue recognition that dignity is not up for debate. I want to, since I'm the first one to comment, I want to just put this in context. So the anti-homosexual law in Texas is literally what triggered what the lawsuits and eventually overturn of all anti-sodomy laws with Lawrence versus Texas. And of course, there are still multiple states. I believe last time I checked, it's 9 states, including Florida, that still have anti-gay laws on gay laws such as this on the books. In fact, there's been some police departments in certain parts of Florida where they put out sting operations to arrest gay men who will, agree to intercourse with someone who is a undercover police officer. Anyways, the reason why this is now an urgent thing is that the conservative majority of Supreme Court, or actually more specifically, Alito and Thomas, has been advocating to overturn all previously pro-LGBTQ court rulings, including the right to marry, which is in 2015, and 2003, Lawrence versus Texas. They want to drag us back, to make us invisible, to make us another suppressed minority so that they can fly the Christian nationalist flags up high in front of the Supreme Court and think that's their religion rules over us all. I actually am surprised. I would surprise if Governor Hot will sign it. To be honest with you, I think he was going to veto it so that he can bounce it back and take another year and just keep repeating it.
Well, I hope that their Senate looks at it. One of my big fears with Democrats and politicians in general is they love to pass something in one house to pretend they're moving it somewhere, and then the other chamber, for some reason, doesn't move it. And I'm like, that's not progress. That's just smoke and mirrors. Hopefully that's not the case today. I will say on the legal issue of the court striking down marriage equality and Lawrence v. Texas, legally, I don't see how you can uphold it because they were based, I'm not a lawyer, but my understanding, they were based on Roe v. Wade and the right to privacy. When you take women's rights away, you can't have gay rights anymore. So, we're all tied together in that sort of stuff.
But I mean, it could also be argued as a discrimination based on sex, and Gorsuch in the Bostock ruling would say that sex is under Title VII includes sexual orientation and gender identity.
I would argue forcing a woman to carry a child to term is also a form of sexism.
I think it's a nice step they're trying to take to repeal this law. Before I moved to Florida, the choices were Florida or Texas. With lesser of two evils, I moved to Florida. Just as crazy. So it's nice to see there's some steps toward it.
Yeah.
And it's amazing that Austin is such a fucking beautiful liberal part of the state. How that ended up being the capital is amazing. So I hope this does go through.
I mean,
my little brother used to live in Austin. It's a beautiful city. One thing I will say about this as well, there has been some polling out of Texas. Republicans might be voting on this because they're afraid right now. It looks like the Democrats might actually win something statewide. I know it's always a mirage with Texas, but the data this time is looking very positive.
Well, I say thank God for someone like Venton Jones, who took the time to author this and had the courage to do this in a red state. Hopefully, I think with all the transiency in our country right now, I think there are a lot of people moving to Texas, that hopefully there's a more metropolitan and sophisticated, educated demographic that will influence the future of Texas in a positive way for our community.
Well, unfortunately, one of the biggest corporations to have moved to Austin, Texas is Tesla. And they came with Elon Musk and his cronies from Doge. So I don't know how blue it will be any longer in Austin. But, I mean, state capitals being refuges for progressivists.
Well, Bobby, I assure you the state of Texas is much larger than any demographic change that Tesla alone could do. I'm sorry, Elon, you're just too tiny.
And we love your daughter. She's amazing.
And your cars suck. Okay, that is a big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer non-profit media platforms like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.
Now let's dive in deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Reverend Robert Hadley, and let's queer up business. Drag Queen Carrot helps launch Ikea's bold new London store. Ikea brought a bold style and queer sparkle to central London. The Swedish furniture giant teamed up with non-binary drag queen Carrot to launch its brand new store on Oxford Street, one of the most iconic shopping destinations. The store is located on appropriately Oxford Street inside the former Topshop building. After a 3-year renovation, the giant space spans 3 floors and a fresh focus on sustainability, including a reshop and reuse section. But it's the flair upstairs was catching eyes. A special display curated by East London drag artist Carrot showcased a glamorous dressing table, shelves for wigs, hanging hands for handbags, and a space for heels and gowns. Carrot's portrait beamed down from the wall above with the words, "A place fit for a queen." Peter Julkley, Ikea's UK CEO, called the launch a milestone in our journey to becoming more accessible and praised the store's collaboration with real voices. London Mayor Sadiq Khan celebrated the news, calling the store a huge vote in confidence for London and a key part of rejuvenating Oxford Street. From drag to design, Ikea's new flagship brings inclusion and innovation under one roof. And I will still get lost in that store.
That is the prettiest Ikea I have ever seen. And I mean, Oxford Street is iconic. I used to live in London. I have walked that street. And Topshop, for anyone who don't remember, Topshop is a fast fashion kind of place like Zara and H&M. But they sadly closed down and they left a lot of large storefronts all over Europe and America in the wake of their sudden closure, which is now followed by Forever 21. But I digress. But I would love to have that kind of Ikea here, instead of
I think it belongs to Sawgrass. That belongs to Sawgrass.
Sterile Ikea that we have. I mean, I would love to have an Ikea in the Regency building, just magically transported to Fort Lauderdale.
I think that the promotion of Carrot and the whole collaboration is amazing, because I had heard some things, and sometimes you say it's a propaganda, but that maybe Britain was becoming more conservative. So I find it refreshing. I think we need that. We need to embrace artistic expression, not only here, but celebrated abroad as well.
Well, I think that you're correct. There was a worry at the time, actually, very recently, that Britain is going more and more conservative. Yeah. But ever since the conservative government was screwed everything up, and people are sick of Brexit, and people are sick of they are sick of billionaires and colonizing culture, etc., etc., etc. So I think Labour is safe for the time being. So hopefully.
This looked like a very nice thing, and I have some Ikea furniture in my house.
Who doesn't?
But
how'd you put it together?
I can't remember how I put it together, but it was simple. But anywho, but I always want to remind people with these sorts of stories is corporations are at best always a fair weather friend. It's nice that Ikea did this. Do not assume that they are a person. They are an institution that when the wind's in their favor to do this with us, they'll do it. If it's not in their financial interest to do it with us, they won't even remember.
Actually, you brought up a good point, because as of today, according to Joe Jervis, great blog, go follow it, several corporate donors of New York Pride, the biggest Pride there is, are pulling out, some of them including PepsiCo, I don't remember, several well-known brands, and they're pulling out because all the corporations are afraid that they will receive retaliation from who.
Probably we're noticing that here too. I'm the production team of Stonewall Pride, and we're not getting the same corporate sponsors we had in the past. So we're working harder to get the corporate sponsors in. So we're recognizing it everywhere. Yeah, so it's nice that Ikea is doing that at least now.
Yeah,
let's hope it lasts.
And I've been saying both here, and I've written in the Advocate magazine and in Washington Blade for years, Pride is a little too addicted to corporate money. I understand that we want big, expensive things, and corporations are willing to give you that money, but we also don't have a plan B for what we're experiencing right now, which is corporations are fleeing Prides. And I've only seen one. We did a story a few weeks ago about, I can't remember which Pride, raised $50,000 to make up the corporate whole, but I don't know how many other Prides can handle that now.
It's time for us to stop building those kind of financial infrastructure the conservative side always has, which is kind of just unlimited money from billionaires. There are progressive billionaires out there. There are several.
The Gill Foundation can't fund every Pride event in America, Bobby.
Well, with our president who threatens, in a retaliatory tone, I think we need to look at, again, becoming more self-sufficient. But this year, I think, especially in 2025, it's hard to keep up with what corporate sponsors and stores are carrying Pride wear. I think we need to pay attention this year, but then we need to support those stores and promote them. And I'm not necessarily saying boycott the other brands, but really pay attention to who's supporting us this year and let the other businesses see how powerful we can be.
In some cases, though, I think that the boycott is actually paying off. For example, Target is actually declaring a loss in this quarter. They have drastically down in traffic, and now even the CEO is like, oopsie daisies, we made a mistake. You're not forgiven until you give us back our Pride display, and everything goes to the front window.
Personally, I love the Don't Buy 2025 campaign, which is just spend as little money with these corporations as possible. Remember, all these companies that we're talking about, almost every single one of them, either them or their owners back the current man that is retaliating against them. I'm like, well, they got what they wanted, so are they really our friend?
Leopard face, etc. That is a big LGBTQ story for today. There's no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.
Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Larry Farver, and let's queer up entertainment. The Ultimatum, Queer Love Returns. One of Netflix's most talked about LGBTQ plus dating shows is back and queerer than ever. The Ultimatum, Queer Love returns for season 2 with a brand new cast of 6 couples, and fans are already buzzing about the drama, emotions, and raw connection that made season 1 such a hit. 12 contestants will test the relationships in a high-stakes social experiment full of passion, heartbreak, and of course, ultimatums. The couples are all women: Ashley and Marita, AJ and Brittany, Dana and Megan, Hiller and Haley, and Kyle and Bridget, and Maria and Mel. The show's second season will be released in 2 parts. Batch 1 drops on June 25th, followed by Batch 2 on July 2nd. So clear your calendars, queers. Well, I'm excited to see that there's some female lesbian representation in the house. I missed season 1, so I will catch this, and if I like it, I'll go back and binge the others. But I think it's great to see women, in the spotlight. I'm hoping that the show is very positive. You know that all these reality shows, though, have some scripting and certainly influence. I took a moment, and none of these people, to my knowledge, are really celebrities yet. But some of them have been in relationships for just a couple years. Some of them have been in relationships over a decade. So I'm sure there's going to be some mixing and matching of the couples, some maybe romantic or seductive tensions going on. We'll see.
Well, I think calling it an LGBTQ show is inappropriate. It is a lesbian show, and I think we should embrace that.
Yeah.
I also want to remind people, I think myself, this is interesting. Why don't they do a gay guy show like that? I'm like, it'll just turn into an orgy. That's it.
Well, that's valid and also fun to watch, really. I mean,
hey, I'm left out.
Yeah, let's all date each other.
But I mean, the thing is, as a family mediator, I generally would advise against participating in these things because they are designed to be emotionally manipulative, and they want to stir up drama by basically pit one side of the couple against the other. And also,
but who better has defenses against manipulation and drama than lesbians? I think they can handle it.
Well, let's hope so. But also, remember, I generally am not a big fan of reality show to begin with. But
no, we're not going to watch it. It's just watch dating. We're in constant flux of dating. Being in see for 5 years, it's still dating. And it's still we're not going to watch a reality show about dating. We live it.
Well, that is a big LGBTQ story for today. There's no other queer non-profit media platforms like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.
Now, let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Alex Morash, and let's queer up entertainment. Queer icons, killer laughs, and psychedelic drama. What LGBT viewers can't miss Pride Month. Here's what to watch this Pride Month if you're queer, here, and love great storytelling. First up, Out TV delivers laughs with Wish You Were Queer, a comedic road trip series starring Michael Henry and Tom Murray, with a little help from Trixie Mattel. Also on May 22nd, Netflix debuts Sirens, a darkly funny, mysterious mystery starring Julianne Moore, Megan Faye, and Millie Alcock. Knockout Blonde, the Kelly Maloney story, is now available on Void. It tells the true story of legendary boxing manager Kelly Maloney, who came out as trans after a decade-long career in the ring. Max honors Paul Rubens in Pee-wee as himself, a revealing 2-part documentary where he speaks about his sexuality for the first time. On Hulu, 9 Perfect Strangers returns today with Season 2. Nicole Kidman and her wigs lead another psychedelic retreat. This time, she's joined by out actors Murray Bartlett and King Princess in the ensemble. Netflix keeps the binge going with the final season of Big Mouth on May 23rd, featuring Cynthia Erivo. Also dropping that day is Fear Street Prom Queen, a queer inclusive slasher flick based on R.L. Stein's classic. Then comes Jared Carmichael's Don't Be Gay, premiering May 24th on HBO Max. Also, after coming out in his last special, Carmichael returns with a provocative title, and even more true, finally. The Last of Us Season 2 wraps up on May 25th, and we will all miss you, Pedro. Bella Ramsey's Ella faces off in a revenge mission you won't want to miss. And I just am very happy to see so much queer stuff for Pride Month. Something I do always want to warn and give a little shout out to Disney and Microsoft's Xbox Game Pass, because they will both do things that they claim are Pride Month, and none of it ever has any queer characters or anything to do with Pride Month. So it's nice to see some actual queer characters in the content for Pride Month with these wonderful shows.
Well, it all sounds good, except that I barely watch any streaming channels. So.
The queer slasher sounds hilarious.
Yeah.
Well, also,
absolutely.
wait, but the thing is, the R.L. Stein, if I remember correctly, the guy who wrote the Goosebumps Folks, I mean, as a young boy, I collected them all. They're barely scary, so I have no idea how scary this thing is.
Well, if you tell me, you just like dim the lights, blood, and some happy.
If you tell me it's Ryan Murphy, I'll think that is more scary. But like R.L. Stein,
well, I really want to see that one with Trixie Mattel because I
yeah,
love her.
She doesn't like
she's
Trixie.
amazing.
Yeah. Did you see her too? She had the two like building a motel and then building a house shows. They were
in Palm Springs.
Yes.
So the Sirens that came out on the 22nd, the last Thursday, we didn't watch it yet. We're going to watch that together this week because we heard so much about it. So it's something we're going to have to watch together.
I'm excited to see the performance of Nicole Kidman. You know, I mean, not everybody may agree, but I feel that she's very she's her roles and her characters. I feel she has a broad range, in my own personal opinion. And she has supported the community in the past in some of the genres that she's allowed herself to participate in. So
I don't think that's a controversial statement, at least compared to things I say on a daily basis.
I mean, I think she's a good actress. Did she win an Oscar or something? I don't know. I don't remember.
Sure.
I'm pretty sure. I don't know. I will bet money she's won at least one Oscar, and we're going to get absolutely slayed online for that statement.
Oh, Jesus. I'm bad gay. I don't remember the Oscar winners, okay?
Who?
That is a big LGBTQ story for today. There's no other queer nonprofit media platforms like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight. Those are today's headlines from Queer News Tonight. These anchors represent the best of our LGBTQ community.
If our community is important to you, share this news with your friends and family. Join the conversation on your favorite streaming platform.
Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ digital television show in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines.
We need your support if our community is to grow and then thrive. We must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world. This is the only place in the world that tells these types of LGBTQ stories in motion and sound. That is the passion of Hotspots Magazine, Happening Out Television Network, and Queer News Tonight.
I'm your anchor, Bobby Huen, and on behalf of these LGBTQ reporters, the anchors of Queer News Tonight, including Robert Hadley, Larry Farver, and Alex Morash. We will see you daily at 8 p.m. To our LGBTQ world, we hope you will join us by embracing love, generosity, bravery, be transformative, and queer. Good night.
Good night.